congratulations, Jim and Robbie, on the success of Made in India, a Titan story.
Thank you.
I think we knew this is coming, but I think the kind of response it has generated is still a pleasant surprise. So, if you can talk about the process a bit and how the team came together, and you was Jim the first choice, because he looks like he's the only choice.
He was the only choice, and he was actually, I mean, he came on board much before I did, to be honest, and he'll take you through the beginnings.
I met Sunil Boraji, Anand Jain, and Karan Vyas, all at some restaurant where they pitched the show to me quite a while ago, 3 years, 4 years, something like that. I was like, this is great, this sounds great, it looks lovely, love to do this project. It was still at a beat sheet level, and then slowly the script kind of developed, and directors were attached and then were not attached, and then were attached and were not attached, and finally it wound up being Robbie, which everyone was very, very happy with. And I think Robbie already had a working equation with Sunilji, and he'd already shot something with Aditya Kapoor, who's the cinematographer. So it's like those three who I met had such conviction and excitement for the show that it was very, very contagious. Just kind of took over, and you knew everyone was trying to make something, write something, show something with a lot of heart that they really believed was a great story. So yeah, and then once Robbie was on board and he started assembling the team, it just feels like everything trickled down from that. You know, we have a very relaxed, happy, interested, full of conviction and passion director, and then he picked people to be in his team and co-actors and etc., that all were the same, had the same spirit. And I think that spirit is what eventually shines through. Everyone was committed to their part, from the costume designer to the production designer to the camera team to the people that, even Kuber, who was his assistant director, so passionate about the project. You know, you could talk to him about any moment and he had ideas about it, and he had theories on why this would work and why we should try this. And you know, when you see a team that is so passionate about it, you really feel motivated to do better and better and better. And when each actor brings so much of themselves to the role and is so up for playing and discovering and transforming, then it's just a pleasure. It's just a pleasure. And I'm not saying that it was all easy. It wasn't all easy. It was a grueling schedule.
It was tough.
Long hours, many, many days, and very, very few days, with very few days off.
Correct.
But it was still a pleasure. It was. It was a fun, happy group of people making the show. And so,
Jim, since you came on board before Robbie did you have a vision for the role, vision for the character? And has it come true in what we watch now?
I think so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I think I didn't want him to be too similar to Homi Bhabha from Rocket Boys, even though they're a similar bent of person, right? I wanted him to be gentler and very gentlemanly, and proud in the correct way, proud in the way that one should be, which is full of conviction and belief and not egotistical.
In fact, we had discussions on pre the shoot, where on surface level, Dr. Baba and Xerxes are similar, right? Ambitious, geniuses, a lot of similarities. So we debated, how to play it differently, conscious decision from Jim, I don't want to repeat that, rightfully so. Even I was debating in my head. But very honestly, the moment the camera rolled, Dr. Baba never came in my head. Like I saw him perform the first day and he did what he did. And believe you me, till date, now you're asking a question, so I'm reacting to it, remembering it. But it never crossed my head, array, this is an actor who played that part which was similar in essence, or surface level rather, is playing another part. It never crept in my head. That's a, brilliance of this not so lovely gentleman sitting next to me. I can praise him too. I have to add something to counter.
Keep me humble.
But my algorithm has thrown up this page, Parsi Zoroastrian Worldwide.
Yes.
Yeah. And they said the way Tom Walter was the go-to person to play all the Firang characters.
Right.
Jim Sarbh is the go-to person for all the Parsi characters. And we have so many great whose stories are to be told. What do you think?
I was beaten to Freddie Mercury, I have to tell you that much. That's one sad event. Yeah, I mean, lots of great parts, great roles, great historical Parsis. So, yeah, I hope.
It's also like 10 years since you made your screen debut.
Yeah.
Screen debut with Khalil, the character of Khalil, and that was very different. And here, I think as if you have, and I've been watching you on stage and screen for so many years, I feel like something there is a little shift. Was that shift conscious? Or
What shift?
I feel that there is a kind of, I don't want to use the word maturity, but there is a little bit of growth. You think something has moved. I felt like an audience.
It's always interesting because how can you possibly look at Neerja the same way you look at Made in India, right? One, I am older, of course. I'm 10 years older. But more than that, it's tricky. It's tricky. You see a person in a certain kind of role and you believe that is what they are good at. It may not necessarily be true. I don't know what it would have been like playing a visionary when I was 28 as opposed to, or whatever, 27 as opposed to 37. I don't know. Maybe it would have been great. I don't know. I can't say. I think why you liked, if you liked Khalil, is that he seemed like a real person even though he was the out and out villain of the story, right? So I've taken that same basic ideology, which is try to don't think about the effect or don't think about how other people see the person or don't think about that. Think about how the person sees the person. And I've tried to apply that same thing to this other person. I don't know.
You set him thinking now. He's going deeper and deeper.
Yeah,
Take him out.
I don't know.
Okay. Was it very difficult to let go of your curls? I'm trying to take him out of that.
No, in fact, it's the other way around. I always say this, because, actors are generally vain, right? It's rightfully so. They have to look a certain part in the world on screen. And we were debating in the earlier stages about, bald look for Xerxes because he was bald. It's a real life story. So, and we were debating and figuring out prosthetic. Yeah, and Jim was the first guy to say, no, I'll go bald. We're like, are you sure? Yeah, I will not do it if I don't go bald. So he was the one who pushed us to really not even think of prosthetics. And and the fact is, filming of a show or a story takes months and months, right? So it's not like you're just on set. You go for your events, for your other parts, you go outside. You don't just shoot the show. But he said, no, I'll wear a toupee wig, whatever for my things. But this man has to be bald because that's Xerxes. And so that's a conviction and commitment of an actor. Tremendous.
Robbie, was the world already created when you stepped in? Or you had to build because there is I think,
no,
obviously it's nostalgic. Sorry.
When I walked into the show, a certain part of this script was kind of there, to be honest. But I had a certain thoughts on the script. He had a certain thoughts on the script as well. So we jammed, we met, we spoke, we discussed multiple meetings, added nuances here, there. So we kind of honed the material slightly in the vision that you eventually see today. Though Karan had written a fantastic script, beautiful. But we obviously model the lines, a little play as your conviction. Every director brings a certain something to the table. No two people think alike. So yeah, we kind of, and my tuning with Jim was fantastic in the sense we kind of mostly agreed on everything. There was debates, yes, how to do this or not to do this, but the holistic approach was very similar, which is very good for a director. If an actor, your lead actor, is on the same page. Otherwise, if he thinks west and I think north, becomes tough. Then you have to find a middle ground. But we can have very similar approach to staging, filming, and the overall treatment. And yeah, we brought a little two bits to it, and eventually, yeah.
Yeah, and you knew when to kind of control my. If I was improvising,
I'm just
too
trying to be
much.
polite on camera.
I was watching and I'd be like, oh, he took out that improvised line over there. Oh, he took out that improvised line over there. So good. I think it's better that he did, actually. I think it's better that he did. I was going too far.
And getting those old Hindi songs,
Yeah.
I would imagine must have been difficult. The rights and how did you manage
honestly, not really. The credit for that goes to my producer and the platform, to be honest. I have no idea, money, rights, whatever. We had an idea in our heads about creating that world, visually and through sound. Because what happens in a story like this is we can build sets, we can go to real locations, but if you're in the four walls of a set, you never feel it, right? You want to feel the world, and the feeling of the world only comes through when you see that world on a larger scale. Wide shots, roads, people, not just the four-walled interiors. So very clear we want to create that world cinematically and through audio. And what better way than an old songs? Because I think it's the story demanded that kind of a treatment, and we were lucky that we got like bank of music at our disposal, and we had to pick and choose. And we, in fact, most of the songs are written on the screenplay level. So it is not an afterthought, shoot ho gaya, edit ho gaya, abhi gana dalte hain. So we have that song playing on the script level itself when he's sitting on the scooter with Akash. He says, Tata, bye, and the song starts. So we knew that. So they was shot keeping that in mind. The look at the end of Akash Weber playing that part was there in our heads on paper. So the song will start on his face, not later. So that's why also it seemed a little seamless, I think, to the audience, not forced, because we kind of pre-did it rather than post-did it. Yeah.
And how was it working with the ensemble cast? Because I think most of them are very good. Did you have to rehearse? Was there a workshop involved? What was that process?
I mean, we had readings, and I'm personally a firm believer of the readings that we have. And readings are not really about actors performing. We don't have theatrical readings where Jim would become Xerxes on the reading and talk like him, or nothing. Readings are actually a way where people, the actors and the director, understand the characters better. Because he'll have nuances while reading the line, nahi yaar, doesn't work, I would say it works or not. So and as a maker also, I learn so much because an actor looks at his part specifically more minutely, right? Rightfully so. So while I might miss certain things because I'm looking at the overall picture. So what actors bring on the table in reading is the understanding and the complexity of the character alive. So when you're on set, the work is done. It's really done because now the actor will take over and he'll do his magic. But it's all pre-done in that sense where he knows exactly what he's going to play it, and I know in my head how he's going to play it. So now it's about putting color to the canvas. The drawing is done. So it's the readings, and the pre is discussions we've had, like I said a few minutes ago, is what really brings the character alive. The pre of the shoot.
Yeah, and sometimes we'd sit before and rehearse and run things and run ideas, and we'd block. And I actually love blocking. I think blocking is the most.
That's a pet peeve. Yeah.
I love it. Staging, blocking, whatever. I love it. I love a scene with dynamic blocking. I'm really not a fan of very, very static blocking where two people are just kind of sitting or whatever. I like that because I feel that's more representative of life. People are moving, people are talking while they move, while they're doing other things, I love that. So we would block. Of course, we would also block, but then sometimes the actors would also block with me, and I would call them up sometimes the day before being like, can we try this? Shall we try this? I have an idea. It may change, this how you want to play things. So I just wanted to let you know. And they were very, very sporting and very up for it, And of course, each one brought so much to their part. Like Paresh playing the double role, his transformation as the the very serious banker. I mean, it hasn't made it to the final show, but he did this whole thing of entering the office and doing doing some puja thing, and then changing his shoes, and then sitting down behind the desk, and being like, bata, and it was so different from the Paresh I had gotten to know in the other character, and I was just like, oh, what a pleasure watching this guy do his thing. And Lakshveer, the core group, of course, was just so fun to work with, because they are lovely people already. But more than that, they're such sincere and hardworking actors that they've come with ideas, they've come with what they want to do, they've come with little touches, little nuances that change things. Vaibhav is so ready to play and to change. Of course, I loved acting with Naseer. He's fantastic. He's so much
all
to
the
learn.
actors brought so much of energy to the scene, yes, but also in their thinking, not just performing, because all of them are thinking actors. They're not just actors who come and just say, "Kya karna hai? Chalo yahan se walk karke wahan jaake chai pee ke dialogue bol do." Nobody's like that. And I love the fact that all the ensemble cast, even the supporting cast, were brimming with ideas and throwing things at me all the time. And I love that. I don't know, some directors might find it, "Arey yaar, why so many ideas?" But personally, I love it. I feel the actors are as invested as I am in the show and the story, which is beautiful. Obviously you take some, you don't take some, you think holistically, but it just brings so much of a lovely energy to the proceedings that you enjoy the process that much more.
Since you mentioned Naseer, a lot of people are saying that the way he has played the role of Mr. Tata, he brings a lot of elegance to it. And you have most of your scenes are his scenes are with you. If you can share that experience.
Fantastic. I had seen him in a play when I was 18. I was always hoping to be able to act with him since then. I got the opportunity over here, and I got it in the most kind of art imitates life kind of situation, where I would hang on his every word that he would say to me as an actor, or to his approach, or how he's progressed, or what his journey would be like. I would hang on every one of those words, and luckily the scenes imitated exactly that. I just had to hang on his every word as Xerxes, and that made it easier. And he's so prepared, and he does all the basics so fantastically. But the thing that always was so pleasurable to act with him in a scene is the amount that he gives you and the amount that he listens. So the quality of his listening and observing you, you see that he's really seeing you and what you are doing. He isn't doing any kind of generic acting in response. He's watching you and letting his performance be affected by you, and then giving you something that can affect you, and then you can take it into your line, and then you can give something back, and then he'll take that into his line, and then he'll give something back. Just a pleasure.
And see them perform together, because like you said, actors feed off each other, good actors. So a lot of things were not scripted, for example. They would just do that something there, and you would just sit back and just, in a way, it's a fan moment. Naseer Sarbh, this, I won't say again too many good things, this lovely man, together, feeding off each other was just magic. Just the joy of watching them perform, both of them, feeding off each other and adding their nuances a little bit here and there, was just so joyous. It's so much fun.
He would struggle to put on a coat on purpose. He knows how to put on a coat, He
Not
knows.
scripted again. Then he would went and
then I would go and help
like
him.
a father-son.
And then it would become a moment, father-son moment.
Correct.
And then it would just kind of influence the next few lines, because you see him vulnerable. And so then Xerxes wants to protect and be there and just help him with everything.
Correct.
And just wants to take a moment to just observe him and watch him, just to watch him.
Correct.
It was very nice. I loved it.
Jim, do you have an India story? Because you spent some years while growing up in Australia, then you came back to India, then you again went to the US, where you were also working for a while, right?
For a year.
Yeah. But then again, you chose to return to India, and now you have a lovely career unfolding here. So, what prompted that decision to come back to India, and then?
I'm Indian. So I could have stayed in the States, I was offered a job actually at the theatre that I was working at there. It was the Alliance Theatre, a lovely theatre. Susan Booth was the artistic director at the time, a very, very, very talented theatre director. She brought the first Emmy to Georgia because as she was running the Alliance Theatre, she Emmy, right? Emmy? No, Tony. She brought the first Tony to Georgia for the Alliance Theatre. She was the artistic director there, and she taught a directing class at Emory because Emory was such a good school, gave you so many opportunities. I took a directing class. At the end of the directing class, I didn't know what I was going to do for the 1 year afterwards. A teacher who was very fond of me brought it up at a staff meeting, which Susan Booth happened to be at, and she was like, "Oh, I'll give him a job. Send him to the Alliance to interview." So I went and interviewed there. She gave me a job as a literary intern at the Alliance, so I could spend that extra year doing that, and the hours were very flexible, which was fantastic. It meant I could act as well on the side. They cast me in one of their plays that year as well, which was fantastic because 1 year out of college doing a play at the Alliance was like dream come true, for most theatre actors over there. And as the year came to an end, she was about to start directing a play, and I was supposed to do the dramaturgy for the play, which is like you go and you look up information that an actor or somebody working on the play may want to read to do further research. So I read the play that she was going to be directing, and then I did some research, and then I found a couple books that I thought worked well with, would help somebody who was trying to get into that world. I illegally went to the Emory University, borrowed those books, photocopied them, returned the books, and made like this binder of what I thought. I gave her the binder. She looked at the binder and she was like, "Who told you to get these books?" I was like, "I don't know. I read the play. I thought they were appropriate for the thing." She was like, "Okay, you want to be my assistant for the next play, for this play?" I was like, the thing is, I've already booked my tickets. I'm going back to India. Because I had felt that, again, I spent my childhood, a lot of my, at least the formative years of my childhood, not in India. Then I was in such a specific situation, which is I was in a Bombay International for a few years. Then I was at the American School of Bombay. I felt I didn't know India. I hadn't got to know it. I didn't know it. I was a kid. I went to school and I went to play. I didn't know anything about where I was actually from. So I wanted to come back and work here and see how that develops. And so yeah, it was that simple, I guess. And then I did theatre for 4 years. And then I got cast in Neerja. And then Neerja came out and here I am. Do you want to add anything to my story?
Well said. Nothing to add to your story.
But if you have to act in another real life character, which one would you choose? Can I say that, I first saw Jim in Okay Tata Bye Bye.
Oh, yeah.
And Jim
That was my first play in Bombay.
Yes. And Jim is like there are a bunch of women.
Right.
And everybody finds Jim very desirable or handsome.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you can surely say. Why not?
So, how about creating something where,
I'm desirable.
which you have done?
Please make something.
If I beat him at pickleball, yeah, I'll create something. But he has to lose to me. He's a good player. I also play okay.
One of the days we shot 12 hours. 12 hours.
Yeah.
And we realized the place that we were shooting at
Had
has a pickleball court upstairs.
Correct.
We went up and played for 3 hours.
3.5 hours,
our
I think.
12
3.5 hours.
We just played pickleball.
For
It was
3, yeah,
so
crazy.
fun.
So much of fun. Yeah. So much of fun. So I'll come back to you after I beat him.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Who a real person that I'd like to play? So many. I'd like to play Jim Corbett. I'd like to play JRD Tata. I'd like to play Freddie Mercury. I'd like to play... Who else? Who else should I play? Just all of the cool people.
Yeah.
I'd love to play a singer. I actually, if I could sing really, really well, I would quit acting tomorrow. Tomorrow, I would quit and I would try to join a band. I think it's the most wonderful, incredible thing that you can possibly do is be a musician or have really impeccable musical control. I would quit
Thank God you're not a good musician.
tomorrow.
You're not a good singer.
Yeah?
Thank God for that.
Is it?
Yeah, I am. Love your spirit, but yeah, just act.
Exactly.
So Jim plays pickleball well, but can you make akuri really well?
I'm actually fantastic at scrambled eggs.
And I must tell you a little trivia on the Akuri scene, which is really fun. So the house we were shooting in, we realized that it's a vegetarian house. You cannot cook eggs, right? On day end of the first day, we realized that, and they were very strict about it, and fair enough. So the egg that he's cooked, the egg that his lovely wife Rajni eats and says, is the ugliest thing on planet. It's not real. It's made with some soya thingy, and I smelled it. I said, oh God, what is this? And she eats and says, in my head, like, but she's like acting so well. But it's the worst thing in the world to put in your mouth. So nice.
Okay, we'll end the conversation with you two picking your best Titan moment from the show.
Okay. There were many that I enjoyed being in, and there were many moments that I enjoyed watching of myself and of other actors, etc., etc. But I really, really liked the proposal scene between Kaveri and Lakshvir. I thought it was very beautiful, very heartfelt, very well done. A scene that could veer into cheesiness or could veer into over sentimentality, but never did, because of the honesty of both of their performances and this unspoken, very, very beautiful chemistry that they had slowly developed over the course of the show. You really knew how much Lakshvir's character was hoping for it to be something, the two of them. But you also saw that he was just too shy and too nervous to bring it up and didn't know how. And she's constantly going on these other dates, and he doesn't want to throw it off. He doesn't also want to ruin their working relationship, you know. You see it come out so beautifully in the way that he's performed it, where you see both the desire and the restraint equally, you know, equally portrayed. And you see her also caught up in this other world and doing these other things, but can't help but steal glances at him. And you feel almost that like bubbly, like butterfly thing when he keeps calling her about, you know, should I bring you a gift or should I get you something from here? Or, you know, what about a perfume? Would you like a perfume? You know, you sense that this is just, it's filling her with so much joy, you know, and she's just waiting for him to say something. Why doesn't he say something, you know? And eventually she takes it into her own hands and does this very, very, very beautifully simple in its heartfeltness proposal. Beautiful. I loved that scene.
So nicely put. You know, when he was talking, I was pondering, no, that one, no, this one, no, that one. So it's like I was playing five, like, no, I'll say this. Tough one. Honestly, I like a lot of scenes, if I say so myself. But for me, if I had to pick one, I would say one of the few, I mean, the ones I like is the scene where he comes in the 6th episode. Xerxes comes to the room and they're ready with the watch, the final watch, and he says his line, I asked for the moon and my team gave it, and they all have a hug. And then Lakshmi says one line over there, "Duniya yaad rakhe na rakhe, lekin hum ye 8 mahine kabhi nahi bhulenge." That is synonymous for the show. They didn't want to build a legacy. They want to build a beautiful watch, and the legacy came along with that. They didn't crave for the legacy so much, you know. They were like, and that line symbolizes that, you know. दुनिया याद रखे ना रखे लेकिन हम ये 8 महीने नहीं भूलेंगे. That's the team spirit they had. That's the bonding they had, and that's for me the show and the story. I mean,
yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
may it get many more million views.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lovely.